1-0. Dolphins get it done. McDaniel gets it done. Tua gets it done. Mainly the defense really got it done. Alex Donno alongside former Miami Dolphin Troy Stradford on the extra yard. We had our inaugural edition last week, and it's nice to have some actual regular season football to talk about now, Troy. And listen, I think we could probably lead off with this, right? Pretty big for Mike McDaniel. He gets his first career head coaching victory against arguably the greatest of all time. That's a story to tell the grandkids.
Absolutely. That's a story that will be told in his family, him throughout his life, talking to his kids. It's just one of those monumental moments because, again, we talked last week about this new coach, first-time head coach, McDaniel, going up against Bill Belichick, the beast in the National Football League. And all of a sudden, they come out with the victory. And in that game, McDaniel, he was aggressive. He was the one that was not afraid of anything that we were kind of accustomed to seeing around here when it comes to certain situations in the game. So he fared very well. Last week, Donald, I made the comment, we talked about the comparison. I thought that was one of the biggest comparisons, the two coaches. And for him to come out on top, with a dominant defense, that's a nice start for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, and it's like, I know everyone's making this about Belichick versus McDaniel, or even Belichick versus Tua, because now Tua is 4-0 against Bill Belichick to start his career. First quarterback to ever do that against Belichick's Patriots. I know John Elway did that, against Belichick's Browns back in the day, but first quarterback to do that against Belichick's Patriots. But to me, Troy, I can appreciate, I don't like the guy. I don't like the way he's gone about his business for the last 25 years or whatever it's been, but I can appreciate, Bill Belichick's record. But to me, this wasn't really so much about McDaniel versus Belichick. The Dolphins flat out have a better team than the Patriots, Troy. Listen, full credit to the Dolphins because they look like a team that is going to be a playoff contender. And they've got, I think, a defense that's darn near championship caliber. But on the flip side, the Patriots kind of look like a 5-12 team to me.
I think you're getting ahead of yourself right there a little bit, Donald. There was only one game in the season, correct? Finally, guys got on the football field. They will make their corrections. Now, like the Baltimore Ravens, they have the Miami Dolphins on film. Whoever the Patriots are playing next week, they have them on film. It's one of those, let's do our homework, come up with a schematic game plan, and let's execute our game plan, and hopefully we'll come out on top. But, I was at that game. I got to be honest. Never thought I would do it. But I was at the game, and I was up in the alumni box, and it was nice seeing all the former players. And when Waddle scored, and we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
When Waddle scored, there I was doing the Waddle.
Yes.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. I turned around, I said, I didn't just do that, did I? But I did.
Oh, man.
I was excited.
I love that. I love that. Let's talk about that 4th and 7 call, which, that resulted in Miami's only offensive touchdown of the day, but it capped off a beautiful drive. That was a 92-yard drive, 10-play, 92-yard drive. I thought it was a brilliant play call. And you heard Tyreek Hill after say that, Mike McDaniel needed a wheelbarrow to put his balls on after making that play call. It was unbelievable.
Yes,
and it wasn't just the call, because obviously the call to go for it on 4th and 7, it's always going to look good when you convert it. If you don't convert it, people will be like, what is this idiot doing? So credit to Tua for throwing that football perfectly, and Jaylen Waddle for making, a difficult catch. But Tua throws a very catchable ball, but credit to Waddle for making that catch and turning on the afterburners. Here was what Mike McDaniel said after the game. And I think it was actually Ethan Skolnick who asked him the question, if I'm not mistaken. So our pal Ethan here, CEO of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, was the one who asked about the thought process for making that decision to go for it on 4th and 7. He said, quote, "It was a cool moment for really our whole team, but the mechanics of working with the game management guys and talking through the different scenarios, we were just at the fringe of Jason Sanders' range." He said, "Yeah, you can push the envelope, but the flip side is you miss it, and you're a first down away from giving up points. So then it became, all right, it does kind of make sense to go ahead and go for it. I have a couple of thoughts in mind. I had a couple of thoughts he said, but then once the play started, I think Cedric Wilson motioned down, and we had anticipated a certain type of leverage in the man-to-man coverage, and we got it. Then we got the protection, and then Tua ripped a strike, he said. So
And you know what
I
that's called,
loved
right?
that. I loved it.
That's
Go ahead.
absolutely. That's called execution.
Yeah.
And when you execute as a football team, everyone's on the same page. Chances are you're going to be very successful. So I'm looking at that situation. I was surprised, just like most of the Miami Dolphin offensive players who spoke about it, sitting there saying, all right, they're going to go 4th and 7. If they miss this, yes, they're going to give up a lot of field position for the New England Patriots. But they went, they executed, they connected on everything. Waddle did his job, and I got to make note. This is the first action that we've really seen from Waddle, right?
Yeah.
He didn't really play in the preseason. So to come out in the first game of the year and just to be on point like that, that means that although he did not play, when he had his opportunities to practice, they were definitely on the same page. So that was flawless when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. If they could do more of that, they'll score more points.
It was. And that was a great play by Tua. A great play does not necessarily mean he had a great game, because anytime I say anything nice about Tua, if my guy Brooklyn Rob is there in the chat, he's gonna bring up my checkered past, Troy, because I am not part of the Tua non-cult. I'm just a guy who calls it like I see it. If it's a good throw, it's a good throw. If it's a bad throw and I think the Dolphins can do better, I'm going to tell you. He says Mush still hates Tua. But Troy, let's be real here. Tua Tagovailoa yesterday, he had an above average game, not a particularly good game, not a great game, left some yardage on the field, could have been nearly intercepted a couple times, made some dangerous plays where I thought he was trying to do too much. I thought some of the times he was getting taken down, he was trying to make a play to avoid a sack, make something happen out of nowhere. I thought he put his team at risk a little bit. I'm not going to say he had a bad game, because he didn't, but I'm also not going to come out of this waving my pom-poms and saying, yes, here is proof we've got our franchise quarterback. I still don't know.
No. I will let everyone in on the fact that the first text that I received from you gave credit to the Miami Dolphins defense, gave credit to what they did well, and then you slid in there, but it wasn't Tua. And I go, you really are a Tua hater, aren't you? Listen, I was just like you.
I think my exact words were Tua is still average. I think
something like that. And I go, all right, Donno, you got that out of there. But I'm watching the game, and me too. I was frustrated and perplexed with some of the plays that he attempted to make in the fourth quarter. Like you said, throwing the ball away, almost throw an interception, throwing across his body on a rollout. I was sitting there saying, manage the game at this point. Know what will cost you. Know what will benefit you. And then I'm sitting there saying, I really don't like that. And I tried to think back to, did he play like that in the past? I couldn't remember. But I'm sitting there saying, okay, McDaniel is putting this aggressiveness into his brain, so he's trying to make a play. But as long as it didn't cost the Miami Dolphins yesterday, it worked out well. Like, if it didn't work out well, if that sack where he was trying to throw it away ended up being a turnover, now we would be really raking him over the coals when it comes to his performance yesterday. But he played well enough, and I need I remind you, I don't think this is Tua's team, right? I don't think it's his team. This team is led by defense, number one, and then it's going to be led by offensive speed, number two. And I thought that we saw both of those elements in yesterday's ball game. Nothing surprised me. I also thought, in talking to last week's show, I said that X-Man, Xavien Holland, would definitely get an interception, right? I called that, and I said it'll probably be against Devontae Parker, because when you think about it, at that point in the game, I see that Bill Belichick is sitting there saying, okay, we're going to go for the gusto right here, and we're going to put Parker, we're going to go at Parker with X-Men. And if we hit that for a touchdown, imagine if that worked the other way. That would have been like a dagger in the Miami Dolphins' heart that Devontae Parker scored the touchdown over their best defender in Xavien Howard. But Xavien Howard, being the excellent professional that he is, he came up with the big play, and that was the big turning point early on in that football game.
Yeah, and it was great because it was a collaboration interception. It was like a volleyball assist. Like he like set it to him, and then Jevon Holland gets the INT. And Troy,
I'm gonna give that INT to Xavien Howard.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like because you can sort of say the same thing about the defensive touchdown. Like Melvin Ingram is the guy who took it into the end zone, and it was pretty slick, kind of the one-handed, like he just kind of got his paws on it, like the ball like hopped, and like it was a really sweet one-handed like job he did to pull it in and run it in. But Brandon Jones was the one who made that play. Like Brandon Jones gets in on the blind side, he obliterates Mac Jones, the ball comes loose. And I thought Brandon Jones was, on the stat sheet, I think reflects it, and he was everywhere. I thought he was arguably Miami's best defensive player. There were some others to choose from, though, but Brandon Jones led the team with 11 tackles. He had the strip sack that led to the defensive touchdown. Like, he got my defensive MVP award. We can talk about him, but we can also talk about Kader Kohou, who, everyone wondering, like, who's gonna step up? Kohou, who's gonna step up without Byron Jones? Kader Kohou was awesome.
I made the comment last week. I said I'm not too much worried about that situation going into the ball game because the Miami Dolphins hadn't had their number 2 DB all season, preseason long, right? So the guys who have been out there, even though it was not who we thought were going to show up, like Kohou, all of a sudden, that's what I love to see. Like when I watch preseason games, and I'm not sitting here saying I saw a lot of him showing up in preseason games, but when you have a young rookie trying to improve the overall performance of your football team, you want to turn on the film and you want to see him making plays. And what he made plays. He made 2 humongous plays in this football game for the Miami Dolphins. And I never really knew of the guy. So now all of a sudden we'll go to week 2 and I'll sit there and say, all right, what do they have planned now? So I go back to Brandon Jones coming up with the strip sack for the touchdown. And that reminded me a lot of the Miami Dolphins the last couple of years. Last week, I spoke about how upsetting it was that the Miami Dolphins would get beaten on simple corner blitz routes. The defense, they bring a corner off the edge, and all of a sudden, he's hitting the back of your quarterback and he's creating a turnover. All of a sudden, I'm looking at this and I'm sitting here saying, that's usually the Miami Dolphins making that mistake, not the New England Patriots who are making that mistake, but yet it was the New England Patriots who made the mistake. I thought the Patriots made more mistakes than the Miami Dolphins did, which is very unusual, going back to the whole coaching matchup, McDaniel and Belichick, because when I look at this, I sit there and say, okay, they missed that easy blitz coming off the corner. I thought Belichick did a good job. I think his game plan in hindsight was, I'm going to take the running game away from the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to make this passing game and Tua beat me. I think I could slow that down with my defensive guys because the New England Patriots, they have a pretty good defense. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that they're hitting on all 12 cylinders week 1, but he banked in his defensive guys saying, we're going to take the run away from them. And yes, the Miami Dolphins need to get better at running the football next week and the week after that. But I thought the Miami Dolphins adjusted very well when it comes to that. No running game, but they were still able to execute. But again, hats off to that defense.
Well, and let me pick the brain here of my colleague here who played running back. So even though like the Dolphins, they didn't have success running the football, 65 team rushing yards. I think those something we're going to see all season long. We saw a little bit of it on Sunday. Is they do have very capable pass catchers out of the backfield, right?
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert are multiple. So, I mean, does their ability to catch passes, does that make you maybe less reliant on actually picking up rushing yards? Like how does that dynamic work in your mind?
How it works is, okay, our running game is not working flawlessly like we want it to be. We can't like lean on it the entire game. But as you go forward throughout the game, you say, but we could get these guys on a little 3-yard pass, a little 5-yard pass, and we could be effective that way. That is what makes the Miami Dolphins offense a lot dangerous, in my opinion, because if you can't run it, you could toss it to those guys, and that's like a little running play. It's just an extension of the running play. But when it comes to a game where you're really not getting major yards on the ground running it, as long as you could still have the attempts, the number of attempts, and then you factor in a little dump off, because I used to get, just a little side note, I used to get upset that I would catch a 2-yard pass and I get a 25-yard gain, and the quarterback got all the credit for that.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
wait a minute, that's just that was nothing but a running play. That was a running play. So it is an extension of the running play, and the Miami Dolphins, I thought, did that very well.
By the way, I need to address this because first of all, Shake Money, thank you so much for the super chat. So Shake Money, he's a big Gator fan. So Shake, I appreciate you being here, taking your tough loss on the chin. I hope top 15 for like 5 days was an enjoyable experience. Back down to earth now. But I did say so, and Troy, I said this actually on Friday. It wasn't when I was with you last week. I said this on Friday on the 5 Reasons Sports Network because I'm a big Hurricane fan, so I enjoy watching the Gators lose and the Seminoles lose. And I said this before the Florida-Kentucky game that if Kentucky goes into the swamp and beats Florida, I would do my best Will Levis impersonation. The Kentucky quarterback, he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, and
Ooh, mayonnaise in
yeah,
his coffee.
he's insane. Like I honestly, it almost made me want to root against him against Florida. He puts
Mayonnaise
mayo in
in
his coffee, and he eats
Why?
bananas without peeling them. He just bites right through the peel. He's a savage.
Oh my goodness. Like, I have a phobia. We all have that little thing that like sets us off the wrong way. There was a time until recently, I'm going to say the last 5 years, I've gotten over it, where I absolutely could not allow mayonnaise to touch my skin, like my
Oh man.
fingers or anything like that. I had to run to the sink and wash it off. I just felt like gross, like mayonnaise. I can't deal with mayonnaise at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think mayonnaise has a place in the world. Like I'm
No, it
not like
doesn't.
I don't go out of my way to put it on a lot of things. Like I don't know, like there's certain sandwiches like the
No.
I don't know, like I don't mind it on certain things. Like I like it on a turkey sandwich, like on a Publix sub, I'll take some mayo.
No. No, thanks. Give me mustard. That's it.
Mayo gives me pimples, Alex M says.
Mayo gives me pimples.
Yeah,
Me too.
I was supposed to drink mayo coffee, and I totally forgot. Can I do it? I want to do it
You can
next
do it right
show.
now.
Well,
You got mayonnaise?
I don't have coffee made. I don't even know if I have mayonnaise in the house to be. So I'm gonna set it up for next week because I want to gross you out. Like I want to see your reaction. Like I will
Oh,
actually, and just so
yeah.
people know I'm really doing it, I'll like squeeze the mayonnaise into the coffee so you can actually see me do it. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to trust me to be like, hey, I put mayo in here. I'd probably be lying. So,
Okay. We got you. We got you on tape now.
so we're gonna get that done. So
Yes.
Shake, I completely forgot. I appreciate you for reminding me. Like I didn't chicken out. I just completely forgot about it. So we're gonna try and I'm gonna need like Troy and anybody who's in the live chat right now. If you follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, please do. Just like send me tweet reminders before next Monday because it completely
Oh,
slipped my mind.
we will remind you. We will.
And
Not
maybe
that I really want to see it, but
uh,
we'll remind you.
So I do want to talk about the Dolphins' weapons, because that's one thing where, yeah, I think even a quarterback like Tua with limitations can go, and people are going to be so mad that I said that.
There
But
you
I do,
go again with the little dig at Tua again.
yeah, I can't help myself.
Okay,
But
that's all right. I'll call it out.
I think he can succeed here, and we saw the weapons on display, right? We talked about the long touchdown from Jaylen Waddle. It was at a 42-yarder on that 4th and 7. Beautiful play. And Tyreek Hill got 8 catches for 95 yards. So Hill was a big part of this game as well, and I think he just hit his over on Prize Picks, which made me very, very happy. We'll talk more about
Nice.
them in a minute, but like Troy, we are seeing these weapons. I thought that if you're looking at like my top takeaways from the week 1 victory, the defense is still the defense of the last 2 years, which is a good thing, and probably even a little bit better with some of the players that they've added. And you can see the difference in the offense when you have game-changing players like Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Like the best catch from Tyreek Hill, I think it ended up being like a 26 or 36 yarder where he snatched what might have been an interception. Tua, how dare you? He snatched a would-be interception right out of the defensive back's hands and turned it into a big catch. That's why you brought Tyreek Hill, to make plays.
I agree with you 100%. Playmakers, they make plays. And just when you think, the opposition can come and take something away from you, or they're doing a good job, you will have that one player that will step up and outshine everyone on the football field and make plays. And Tyreek, I just thought from the start of the game, first play we blew, by the way, just because of the bad snap. That was
right.
Maybe 6 points right there to open the game on the very first play. But I thought, I made the comment last week, the Miami Dolphins, although it seemed weird to say when talking about offensive football that they play sideline to sideline, but that's what the Miami Dolphins did. They played sideline to sideline, stretched the field when they could, but they made you cover the entire football field, and that's exhausting. That is truly exhausting throughout a football game, because you're sitting there saying, okay, we got to come up, we got to take away this little pass in the flat. We got to take away this little reverse run that they're trying to do here. So the Miami Dolphins, looking just ahead to next week a little bit, the Miami Dolphins, because the Baltimore Ravens are going to look at that, right? And you're going to have a DB on that Ravens team that's going to sit there and say, I know what's coming. I know what's coming. And the week after that as well, I know what's coming. I see that formation. I see that movement. I see that motion. They're going right out in the flat. And as the season progresses, that's when the Miami Dolphins will hit you with okay, you think we're throwing it nice, quick, and short, and Tyreek is going to turn up the field, or Waddle is going to turn up that field, or Cedric is going to turn up that field, and now you're really talking about something. So I think they laid the groundwork, what they really want to do.
I like it. And yeah, I think it's going to be a tougher game next week, especially since the Dolphins have to play at M&T Bank Stadium. I still have to fully review the Ravens Jets game, because, watching the New York Jets, it really does feel like a chore to watch those losers play. But it seemed like and Baltimore came away with a 24-9 win, seemed pretty vanilla on their side, Troy, from what I saw. And then the interesting thing about the Jets, they go in there with former Raven Joe Flacco quarterbacking their team, who's like 6 years past his prime. He attempted 59 passes, Troy.
59?
59. You're not going to beat the Baltimore Ravens when you've got washed up Joe Flacco attempting 59 passes, 37 for 59 in the game. And they obviously they didn't run the ball with much success if they attempted 59 passes. They 83 team rushing yards. But yeah, you're not going to beat anyone when you've got Joe Flacco attempting 59 throws.
That's insane. I mean, I don't know how many sacks the Ravens had in that game, but 59 attempts. When you get up that high, once you get over 40, chances are you were really losing that game, and you just had to give up on the running game, and you had to try and come back that way. But no one wants their quarterback throwing 59 times. Okay, that's one away from 60. I could do a
Yeah.
little bit of math right. That's
I mean, like
crazy.
even for Dan Marino and his like 59 would be a lot of passing attempts. Like that's a lot of throws.
I can remember playing that we would go in and watch the film and they would kind of break down the statistics and everything. And we would average, okay, 60 to 65 plays in an entire ball game. So you're telling me he threw the ball 59? That's crazy. That's insane.
That's like
Insane.
30 more times than you want Joe Flacco throwing the football. I'm sorry. By the
I
way,
agree.
I didn't see this. Carlos writes to us, Ravens suffered 2 huge injuries announced today. Jevon James, is that the same, our former
Yeah.
Jevon James?
Is that
If
our
so,
former?
I feel awful because that dude has had the worst injury luck. Like I feel because he's such a nice guy. I feel so bad. He's always hurt, Jevon James and Kyle Fuller. So listen, I guess that gives the Dolphins a little bit of an edge. I hate ever to hear about anyone getting hurt though, and
I gotta
especially if
disappear 1 second. My earpiece fell out.
oh no worries, no worries. But yeah, wow,
We're
like
good.
magic, he was gone and now he's back. But no, I feel awful if Jevon James is hurt because
Yeah.
he's just had the
Yeah.
work. Oh my god, both out for the
Yeah.
season and it feel terrible.
Wow.
That dude can't catch a break, man. One of the nicest people when he played for the Dolphins.
You
Jeez, I'm
know,
sure he's still
Donald,
nice now.
some guys are it just happens to them. You don't know why, no rhyme or reason. Some are a little bit more injury prone than others, or you just get caught in a certain situation. So unfortunate for him, but we'll take it for the Miami Dolphins next week. Hey, Miami
Yeah,
Dolphins, they had a couple injuries on their offensive line as well,
that's
right?
right. Yeah,
Right
yeah.
tackle, left tackle go down. So you hope that those guys could be effective next week if they're able to play. But if not, now you got to do this shuffling around, and you wonder how that will work out for the Miami Dolphins.
Alex Donno and Troy Stradford, former Miami Dolphin, with you here on the Extra Yard. Troy, how difficult will it be? Because I do think that last year, when the Dolphins had probably their best team performance of the season was against Baltimore last year, specifically defensive performance of the year. It was
Yes,
like it was like the great Dolphins defenses of 20 years
right.
ago, what they did out there. And I think that they kind of set a trend against Lamar Jackson and the
They
Ravens
did.
because they never really recovered from that last year. So how difficult do you think it's going to be for the Dolphins to go into Baltimore and kind of replicate what they were able to do on defense against that same team last year?
Well, expecting the same results, that's slim. But you could bet starting tomorrow, the Miami Dolphins will be watching the game from last year because it's pretty much the same defense, okay? Baltimore pretty much has the same offense. So they're going to sit there and say, okay, this flustered Lamar a little bit. This gave him a little bit of problem here, there. We were able to take that away because 2 years ago, I remember the Baltimore Ravens come down here week 1 and they had guys running all over the football field and we could cover no one. So
Yeah.
the Miami Dolphins, they made that adjustment last year. This year, they're going to try and duplicate that. And you said it right. What the Miami Dolphins did against the Ravens last year, the next 3 weeks, again, 3 weeks out from when you're playing an opponent, you get the game film of what everyone did against you. So everyone kind of copied and mirrored and tried to just kind of duplicate what the Miami Dolphins did against the Ravens. And it was kind of effective. Lamar, he didn't play as well in that stretch there. But you could bet Lamar sitting there saying, hey, I just came off a hell of a week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a phenomenal game. He was just slinging that thing down the field like it was nothing. So it's going to be a tall task for the Miami Dolphins. But coming off of this nice win, that defense is feeling good. I mean, when you look at a football game, a professional team, they usually should be able to put together one drive where they come out of there with a lot of points. So
Right.
New England did that. They put together one drive. It was the start of the second half. And so they caught the Miami Dolphins maybe not ready to start the second half. I'm a little disappointed in the Miami Dolphins overall, but primarily the offense in the second half because I thought that not Baltimore Ravens. I thought that the New England Patriots would kind of fatigue a little bit out there, and the Miami Dolphins would really be more effective in the second half. That wasn't the case. So I'm sitting here saying, okay, Bill Belichick, what adjustments did he make where he was able to slow the Miami Dolphins down? But again, it wasn't a great offensive performance for the Miami Dolphins. Right. But I still expected more out of the Miami Dolphins in the second half.
I mean, when you're going up against Tua, you don't really have to make adjustments. You just kind of hope, I'm doing it again. See, this chat turns me into a smart ass here. And Troy, you could let you Dotis know, because he says he just got in here a few minutes ago. He says when I rewind, when he watches the episode from the start, he says, you better be happy. It was a good win. Was I happy? I think I was
happy. He's a little happy, but he's still not on Tua's. Not that there's a bandwagon yet.
Yeah.
But you still want to point the finger at Tua as opposed to patting him on the back a little bit.
I just, I want and I root for the team. Like, team wins. I'm not the type of guy who comes out after a team win and says it was all about this individual. Like, I think it was a great team win, and the quarterback got carried a little bit by the defense and by the playmakers, and that's fine.
That's how you win, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
exactly.
So good start.
And yeah, we got people in the chat looking ahead to Baltimore as well. Mark Andrews, their stud tight end, who he did have a quiet day yesterday. I know this because he's on two of my fantasy teams. Alex M says Andrews is going to toast Jerome Baker. That will definitely. I hope that doesn't happen. I was able to win my matchup yesterday despite a quiet day for Mark Andrews. Just 5 catches, 52 yards, no touchdowns. I hope the Dolphins can keep him quiet, right? Because, yeah, offensively, that's arguably, outside of Lamar's dynamism, is that a word? Outside of Lamar Jackson's dynamism, I would say Mark Andrews is their top offensive weapon. So, yeah, let's hopefully we can contain him.
The Baltimore Ravens, they had trouble running the ball, right?
Yeah.
I heard on TV this morning, like ESPN, whatever it was, that yesterday's game for the Baltimore Ravens, since Lamar Jackson has been there, that was the least amount of rushing yards they ever posted in a football game. Now, Lamar wasn't doing a lot of running. He had protection. His offensive line did a very good job of protecting him, and he was able to sit back there, scan the field, and find open wide receivers. But the Ravens as well, they're sitting there saying, okay, we got to run the ball a little bit more better than what we did yesterday. So that's two teams coming against each other saying, all right, we got to run the ball a little bit more, because the last thing you want is for someone throwing the ball 59 times like Flacco did for the Jets.
Yeah.
Right?
If Tua has to do that, we're toast. Now, maybe Pat Mahomes could do that. Did you see Pat Mahomes?
My goodness.
Well, one thing I've got to say this, right? And I say this, I just want to get this out of the way here so people know. I love Tyreek Hill, and I'm so glad he's a Dolphin, and he can definitely make our quarterback look even better, because of course he's already great. He can make our quarterback look even better. And obviously Tyreek was a huge part of that Chiefs offense, but I can recall some people saying during the offseason things like, oh, hey, I don't know if Mahomes is going to look so good now that you took Tyreek Hill away. Who's he going to throw the ball to? Like, okay, Pat Mahomes.
I was one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's still got 16. He's still got 16 games to go, Troy. But he looked unreal yesterday.
I was asked the question, who's going to miss who the most? Will Tyreek miss Mahomes, or Mahomes miss Tyreek? And I said, Mahomes is going to miss Tyreek a lot more. But you look at the weapons on Kansas City now, and again, that's credit to how doggone good Mahomes is. See, Mahomes and Tua, not even close to each other right now. So it's a different element right there. Mahomes does not get flustered at any point in the game, for the most part, right? He can make throws where his body is not on the right foot, across his body. He's just so confident. He's one of those players. He's rare. it's hard to get that. So I'm sitting there saying, oh my goodness, I was 100% wrong on that, because the Kansas City Chiefs, they didn't skip a beat yesterday on offense at all. At all.
That's right. Guys, I want to remind you, and we're going to talk a little bit more looking ahead about the Baltimore Ravens, but this and every episode of the New Extra Yard is brought to you by Prize Picks. I won some money, Troy. I won some money.
Nice.
I lost some money. I won some more money than I lost, which is a good thing. I know Brooklyn Rob's not going to believe it because I'm such a mush. Actually, I had a pretty good weekend. What kills me is because I did pretty well on Prize Picks. I did pretty well on the sports book, but then they've got also online blackjack on the sports book, and so I lost like whatever money I won on the sports book. I lost it back playing online blackjack. So other than that, I did pretty well. But I want to take a look at some of the Prize Picks numbers. Let's take a look at some of the quarterbacks here. Now, we do have Monday Night Football tonight, and
Yes.
this is some of Troy. Like the NFL did an awesome job with the schedule this year because there were a bunch of these week one like revenge games, like Baker Mayfield faced the Browns and lost, really thanks to the Browns running game. But Baker Mayfield loses the revenge game against Cleveland. I don't know if they were expecting a Joe Flacco revenge game, but he lost his revenge game against Baltimore. Devontae Parker lost his revenge game to the Dolphins. Russell Wilson has got one of those coming up tonight because the Broncos are taking on the Seahawks this evening. And I think that this is going to be such a big year coming up for Russell because I think he wants to now capture more individual glory because he didn't get, for all the winning he did in Seattle, he didn't get a single MVP vote. Hasn't gotten a single MVP vote his entire career. And I think a lot of people kind of try to paint him as, over the years being like a system guy benefiting from the Legion of Boom, benefiting from all the talent there and Marshawn Lynch on offense. And so I think Russell wants to try and capture that individual glory and also wants to win a ring in a very good Denver Broncos team. But I don't know, because he's looked a little over the hill the past season, has struggled with some injuries. So if I look at the over-unders tonight for the quarterbacks, and this is a game Denver should win easily. They're big favorites in Seattle. Russell Wilson over under 255.5 passing yards. That's a big number.
Over 255. Well, since we had this average quarterback by the name of Tua down here that just passed for 270,
he went over.
That should be a drop in the bucket, right? All right, so you got to go over on that.
I guess you
got to go over.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go over on that because by your math, Russell Wilson way above average. So he should probably go over 255.5. What about Geno Smith for Seattle? His number is 189.5. I don't know what to do with that one. I'm figuring he's going to go under 189.5.
Geno Smith is still quarterbacking in the National Football League. Now, I don't mean to slight him, but...
By the way, Tua is better than Geno Smith. Can you guys agree? I'm being nice now. and also, Tua, I believe, is better than Mac Jones. So, again, there's at least two starting quarterbacks, and I think he's better, certainly, than Jacoby Brissett in Cleveland. So, he's better than at least three starting quarterbacks.
That's it, huh? Wow. I will say this. If a day comes when Tua is no longer a Miami Dolphin, Bill Belichick, if he's still coaching, is going to bring him up to New England. Like he brings players from the Miami Dolphins who is giving him fits along the way. And he's like, I like that player right there. Okay, let me get him. I'm bringing him to the Patriots, so we're going to do something. But Geno Smith, 187?
189.5.
I don't know, man. I don't know now. And I gotta say under.
Okay.
Under 189.
Well. Yeah. Under 189. By the way, Carlos, show me the proof. He says, "What? Better than Mac?" I think you were on the record saying the opposite. Show me the receipt. I may have. Here's something that I have said. I don't know if I said it on this show last week, but I've said it before. I know. I have said before that Mac's final year at Alabama was just statistically a better year than Tua ever had at Bama. But I've also said repeatedly, I believe Tua is a better quarterback. But Mac did have a better final season at Alabama than Tua ever had at Bama. I thought both Mac and Bryce Young last year, who won the Heisman, both had better seasons than Tua ever had at Bama. That doesn't mean I think that either of them are Mac. I mean, maybe Bryce might end up being, but I do not believe Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Tua.
No, interesting. I was giving him the edge coming into this season. I thought he had a better rookie season than Tua had. So I'm sitting there saying, okay, I know you beat him a couple of times, but overall, I thought his resume showed a little better than your resume. So I'm going to have to study that a little bit more.
A couple other Prize Picks numbers looking ahead to Sunday, and we're going to get to the Dolphins quarterback matchup in a second. But I love this matchup. I'm digging the AFC West. It's just such a loaded division. You guys know I'm a huge Justin Herbert fan, of course. Justin Herbert versus Pat Mahomes. We got that this week. We've got Herbert versus Mahomes. That's a clash of the Titans. Justin Herbert's over-under is 285.5. I think he was a little bit under that yesterday, actually. I'll have to double check. He was right around that number. Pat Mahomes, his over-under is 309.5. That's a big number. Like, as much as I love Mahomes, I might just sit that one out. I don't know if he's going to go over or under that.
You're going to take a pass on that one.
I'm going to take a pass.
309.
It's so high of a number for an over-under. Like, if you gave him like 290, I'd feel pretty good about it. But 309, the game is going to dictate it, right? It's like, if the Chargers run the ball a lot and kind of keep it out of his hands, or if Kansas City's running game is really working, the football's got to be in his hands a lot to guarantee over 309.5.
You know what I found, Donno, when it comes to numbers, over, under, point spread, whatever the case may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
It truly does not matter unless it was something ridiculous, like you pointed out last week. It was 5 yards for Tom Brady or something like that, like a gimme, right. Okay? It truly does not matter what number they put on the game. It doesn't. Yeah. There's a matchup coming over under 240 yards. You're sitting there saying, ooh, I don't know which way to go. But if that number was 260, you're probably sitting there saying the same thing. Ooh, I don't know which way to go. I think that is a phenomenal business that they do when it comes to over-unders, point spreads. Like, that whole industry, hats off to them. But I really think it's us inside. We're sitting there saying, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You just got to go with what you really think, Don. You got to go with what you think.
If I had to, I'd probably go under. I think that's the safer pick there. I'd probably go under.
Now, if it was 10 yards,
pass.
If it was 10 yards less, what?
I'd probably go over. But listen, and Troy,
okay.
That's the magic of prizepicks.com. You don't have to play every number. Prizepicks.com and the Prize Picks mobile app. It's so easy to sign up. The app is great. Like, every now and then I'll go on to the regular website. If you're 90 years old and you don't know how to use a smartphone, then there is a website that works, prizepicks.com. But the mobile app, Troy raised it. The mobile app, you're not quite 90 yet. The mobile app is fantastic.
Yesterday was my birthday, by the way.
Oh, I had no idea. I would have wished. I feel terrible now. But you know what? I don't feel terrible because I didn't know. Happy belated birthday, Troy.
Thank you.
You celebrated at the Dolphins game with the Dolphins dub. That's not a bad way to celebrate.
I did. And I did the Waddle.
That's beautiful. And we're both September birthdays because mine is a week from today. So we're almost there. Yeah.
You're a Virgo?
I am a Virgo.
Okay. Virgos rock, man. Rock.
I don't know what any of that stuff means, but I do know that I'm a Virgo because I've been told over the years. But I know this much about astrology. Like, I have no clue what any of that stuff. And then sometimes you see the horoscopes, and I love how a lot of people that are into the astrology, they'll read what the characteristics are of their sign, and they're like, yes, they know. It's so true. They know me. Whenever I read the Virgo shit, I'm just like, that doesn't really sound like me. Like
Really?
I feel like I'm an outlier. I don't know. I don't feel like it really applies to me. I don't
Really?
know.
Are you organized?
No,
You're not a Virgo.
I'm not. I'm not the slightest bit organized. If you don't
Are
believe
you
me,
prompt? Are you early?
yeah, I am early. Yeah.
Okay, that's
I'm
prompt
early.
Virgo
I'm
right
early to
there.
pretty much everything, and if I'm not early, I feel like I'm late if I'm on time. So I guess maybe that applies. But I am
Last one.
so
Last
disorganized.
one.
Go ahead.
Last one. You're a caring person, almost to the fault where you care more about other people than yourself.
Maybe I'm a people pleaser. Does that qualify? It's like
Yes,
because like
that's a
even if
Virgo.
and like people that I'm close to in my life, I do really care for, obviously. But even sometimes, like people I don't know, like I'm like I want to put their feelings before mine because it'll
That's
upset
a
me if they're
Virgo
upset.
trait.
Okay, it is okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I've got everything but organization going for me.
Yes. I'm not really that organized either, to be
Oh,
honest with
really?
you. But
maybe that one skips a generation or
all
something.
right, I lied. One more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does your brain ever turn off? Are
No,
you
it doesn't.
always thinking
Yes. Is that a
about
trait?
this, that? Absolutely, it's a trait.
Really?
It never turns off.
No, it never turns off. It's kind
Yeah,
of annoying because sometimes you just
right.
want to turn it off, right?
Absolutely. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh my goodness, I got to do this, I got to do this, got to do this.
Yeah.
Like, just slow down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe we're on to something here after all. Maybe I was
well,
wrong when I
so
said it doesn't apply to
you're a
me.
Virgo, man. You're a Virgo.
I love it. I love it. So let's look at Tua. This is the same exact over under as last week. And you know what, Troy? Anyone who's in the live chat right now, you owe me an apology if anyone thinks I'm a Tua hater, because I'm for the second straight week, I am going to smash Tua's over 230.5 passing yards. They're going to be harder to come by against Baltimore than they were against New England, but I still believe in his weapons. I think Tua is going to go over 230.5. And Lamar Jackson has that same number, by the way. And that's just it's not a total yardage number. It's just a passing yardage number. I think I might go
Really?
over on Tua and under on Lamar.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they have the same number. I would sit there and say I would go over on Tua because I'm being a realist here. I'm sitting here saying I looked at the Ravens week 1. I'm like, all right, they're pretty good. Depending on what defense the Miami Dolphins throw at them, I'm thinking they're going to have to throw the ball quite a bit.
Mm.
And then when I look at the Miami Dolphins against the Ravens, I'm thinking they may be in a position where they may have to throw the ball a little bit more. So I'm anticipating both quarterbacks with the over.
Okay. By the way, this is the
That's how I
best.
see it.
That's the best betting advice you're going to get here. Whatever mush, being me, whatever mush bets, fade it, Troy, and you're going to make some cash. Whatever I say to bet, you bet the opposite. Yeah.
Can I ask you one?
Yeah.
What's the over under tonight on Russell Wilson?
Yes. 255.5 for passing yards. Let me see if he has a rushing number as well. So 255.5 passing. For rushing yards, 13.5. Like he might get that on one good scramble, Russell. So I don't know. I might go. I don't know what I'm going to do with the I'll probably go over on the passing and the rushing for him.
This game is where? It's in Seattle.
Hold on, let me confirm. Yeah, it is in Seattle.
That goes back to your great planning, scheduling by the NFL, right? They did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know in talking to former players, if they ever in this, no matter what sport, you had the opportunity to go back and play against a team that you used to play for, whether they gave up on you or whether you worked your way out of there, it's almost like your birthday. Like everything goes right. Like you're on cloud 9. It is going to be a huge game out of Russell Wilson. Now, that defense will be jacked to shut him down.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson will be on point tonight. No question about it. So I don't know what that number is. You just go
Okay, so I'm going over 255 passing yards and over 13 and a half rushing yards.
Absolutely.
I think I'm gonna do, and you know what? That's gonna make the game so much more fun tonight, Troy, because it's like, every now and then I'll do it, but I don't really like betting unders because you're rooting for something not to happen. Like I'd rather root for something to happen. Like I'd rather root
Right.
for, throw another touchdown, throw for another 20 yards versus no, stop him, stop him. Like I don't know, it's not as
Right.
fun. It's not as fun for me.
Yeah.
So I
Go
might go.
over.
I might go for that on Prize Picks. And by the way, guys, when you sign up at PrizePicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app, make sure you use. And they're going to ask you, do you have a promo code? Yeah, you do. 5. Spell it out. FIVE. Use our promo code because I remember hearing Alfredo on 3 yards per carry talking about how they look at. I don't look at any data because I'm not organized. Okay, but like Alfredo looks at like the Prize Picks data. And apparently, like a lot of people will sign up like through the show, like through 3 yards per carry, but they won't use the promo code. You're costing
Oh,
yourself free money. Like you
absolutely.
got to type in the code 5 because they're going to double your first deposit up to $100. You deposit $100, they're just going to send you an extra $100 to play with right there. And plus, if you use the code, we get credit for it, which is good for us because Prize
Right.
Picks knows we're the
Which is
best.
good. Which is
So
good.
yeah. So, all right. Before I'm going to read some messages and some shout outs in a little bit before we wrap it up. But do you want to, Troy, make a score prediction for this Sunday? Because I'm going to go with a 24-16 Miami Dolphins win where Miami's weapons will be so dynamic that they're going to make Tua look decent again this week. So I'm going to go 24-16. Couple turnovers forced by the Dolphins D, and we go 2-0 to start this thing.
Wow. 24-16.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens score more than 16. I know that defense was good, but I'm thinking he scores more than 16. And I really don't make predictions when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, but the Ravens will score more than 16. I'm not going to break my promise because I used to be on another show a long time ago, and they were like, Troy, you are not allowed to bet or make a prediction on the Miami Dolphins anymore because every time I picked them, they lost. Every single time
Oh
without
no.
fail, Donno.
So you're more
So,
like me than you thought.
oh, absolutely. That's the Virgo in me. So, but I will say Baltimore will score more than 16.
Okay. Okay. That's good enough for a prediction. I think they'll be lucky to score 16. I think the Dolphins defense will be smothering, and
Wow.
QB1 is going to be immense. By the way, this is funny going back to Prize Picks because we talked last week about how Prize Picks gave people a free space. Like they gave you
Yes.
an over under of half a passing yard for Tom
Yeah, for
Brady.
Brady. Yeah.
But how about this? 200 plus people actually took it and went under for Brady.
No. Like, how do you do that?
Hate, like I don't know, it's
Did
pure,
they
they
really
don't
do
appreciate
that?
greatness. Oh, they probably thought maybe he'll just decide not to play, or or he'll suffer like an injury on the first drop back. Like somebody just probably thought, like 200 plus people apparently thought it'd be really funny if I use this free space and go under.
That's like just riding down the road and you put your window down and you just throw your money out the window, right?
Pretty much. Or
Simple
I
as
guess
that.
I guess this could be bots, because I think people have like bots and like algorithms they use to play these fantasy games to like try and
Oh,
win.
okay.
I don't
I got it.
I don't
I
pretend
got
to
it.
understand that stuff.
I got it. I got it.
So let me throw out some shout outs and read some messages here. Jonathan Clark says we go 3-0, which wow. So John, and I guess I've got the Dolphins going 2-0. So if they go 3-0, Troy, that would also include beating the Bills in about 2
Ooh.
weeks. Says we're ready to take care of business. No time for 1 and 2. I'll give you 2-0. I think the winning streak will probably stop at 2 though.
Yeah, but I bet you if the Miami Dolphins put up a good showing against the Ravens this week, next week's show, you'll be like, I like the Miami Dolphins. We live
Yeah,
week to
true.
week, depending
True.
on how you play. I sit here and say, interesting. We were talking about last week difference between players and media and fans. It really lives with fans and the media because, you got to fill up a week's work. Players, they got to turn the page and go on to the next week. So Coach McDaniel, right after the game, he's sitting there, he's being asked questions, and he's like, I'm thinking about Baltimore right now. That's just how it is. I can't touch on the Buffalo game. I don't know who Buffalo plays next week. I don't care who they play next week. I just know they got to take care of the Ravens this week, the Miami Dolphins. That is.
By the way, hello to Richard Adams. I don't even know if I said any of these things, Troy, but this is the sort of love that I get from Dolphin fans. He says, "Why are you comparing Mac to Tua and giving credit to Mac?" Did I even give credit to Mac? I thought Mac was bad in the game. You're just a foolish hater.
Yeah, right. You said that, you thought Tua was better than Mac.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what people are talking about. Woodson, thank you so much. And yeah, everybody hit that like button. We appreciate it. Brooklyn Rob, who's a paisan of mine, he says, "Repeat, if you put mayo in your espresso, I'm taking away your Italian man card." I'm gonna do that in like regular black coffee. I'm not putting mayo in espresso. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Don't worry about that. Hello to Carlos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our guy Lewis Sung, who does an awesome job on the 5 Reasons Sports Network as well. He covers the Dolphins very, very hard. And he's talking about these revenge games.
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis is the man. He says that philosophy only works for quarterbacks, I guess, because Devontae Parker didn't have a revenge game. Well, he had 1 catch for 9 yards. That was Devontae's revenge game, was 1 catch.
I was talking about Devontae last week, and I said, who did he ever scare? He makes tough catches. I said he has to make tough catches because he's always covered. Like he was never a go-to guy for me, but he was here with the Miami Dolphins, so I had to roll with him. But he didn't strike any fear whatsoever in me yesterday. Now, if he had caught that pass, I'd be sitting here saying something different, but that's how close yes and no comes down to, like inches, right?
Yeah.
But don't try Xavien Howard. Don't do it.
No, I will not. So this guy, he says, why are you trying to elevate Mac over Tua? Going back to the Alabama days, Tua won the game. Just accept it. You are not cute, you hater. And also, I reminded him, Bryce Young, I also thought had a better year at Alabama than Tua ever did.
He had a nice comeback Saturday. That is.
They should have lost that game though. If Ewers hadn't gotten hurt in the first quarter, Texas would have won that game.
Oh, that's a good point there. When he went down, yeah, I think Alabama, they skipped one. They got lucky on that one there. Because he went really down, lucky. It looked like they were going to really give Alabama everything they had, everything.
Yeah, and they did. It came down, and Troy, that was one of the wackiest college football weekends, and it's one of these things where, and like I was at the Hurricanes game, Miami against Southern Miss, obviously a very beatable opponent. Miami ended up winning the game 30-7, but the first half wasn't pretty. Like Miami they looked sleepy on both sides of the ball in the first half. And like a lot of Canes fans on Twitter were like, "Oh, we're terrible. We haven't gotten any better. And we're not going to have a chance against Texas A&M." It's like, bros, I will never apologize for a victory. You saw what happened at Texas A&M later that day. They lost at home to Appalachian State. Notre Dame lost at home to Marshall. Florida lost at home. I mean, Kentucky obviously better than those other teams that, Florida was not supposed to lose at home to Kentucky. They never lose at home to Kentucky. That happened. I think there were a couple other crazy upsets out there over the weekend. So it's like, never apologize for a win, man.
No, you take a win, you get a win, celebrate the win, and move on. Like, here I am, Boston College fan, of course, and my team is 0-2. I am very disappointed. Yeah, I'm sitting there saying, like, do I even watch them next week?
Well, you definitely hired the wrong athletic director because you got the former Miami AD. Blake
from
James.
UM. Yeah.
He is like the least ambitious athletic director in the world.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like
interesting.
Yeah, if you want to build that football team back up, you got to find somebody a little bit more aggressive than that.
I got clout up there, Donno. You should have called me and told me
I
that a
should
long
have.
time ago.
And I should have, because like during the interview process, I should have called Troy and said,
Right.
do not
Look,
veto.
Troy, stop
Veto.
this. Stop this.
I would have
Yeah.
called you and Flutie if I had his number.
Yeah.
So somebody would have stopped it. Oh, man.
Absolutely.
You guys are awesome. And thanks again, Shake Money. Thank you so much for the super chat. You know, I try to be nice to the quarterback and nice to the entire team. I thought it was a good performance and a nice win, and I'm so happy for Mike McDaniel beating Bill Belichick, his first NFL game. So Troy, before we head out of here, my friend, do you want to plug anything, social media, anything you have going on? Let people know where they can find you.
Well, it's everything I do is at Troy Stradford. So whether that's Facebook, whether that's Instagram, whether that's Twitter. And I'm going to apologize a little bit. Today, I thought I was a little fidgety because I had something else going on right now. So I'm just going to share that with you real quick. Hold on.
What do you got?
My new puppy has been on my feet all day out the show. And then he just finally fell asleep like 10 minutes ago.
That's awesome. You were telling me about him last week. I finally get to see him. Adorable. Well, what's his name?
His name is Denver.
Denver. I like
the Broncos.
Yeah.
But Denver because I live on Denver. That's the name of my street.
Nice. So, I love that.
So yeah, I want to introduce you to Denver. Like when you guys see me moving around, it's because I'm trying to kick the puppy, like get off my toes. That's all.
Well, Troy and Denver did awesome. You guys brought it strong this week. Thank you so much to everybody who watched. Please make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube and hit the like button, hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. We will talk to you guys again next week. Hopefully another victorious Monday after the Dolphins at Baltimore Ravens game right here on the Extra Yard on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.